Continued shortages.
The mandates are working.
This hypersonic missile.
We don't know how to stop it.
Infrastructure.
Although it's a smaller bill.
More taxes, more debt.
The freedom to vote safely.
Take over all of state elections.
Alec Baldwin fired that prop gun.
Even remains found of Brian Laundrie.
Look, here's the deal, guys.
Should police officers be mandated to get vaccines or let go?
Yes and yes. The mandates are working. No, I mean, come on. Freedom.
Mr. Bannon.
The American people deserve to know what he knew. The resolution is adopted.
Contempt charge.
It's a battle between freedom and socialism.
They are overreaching.
Get vaccinated or lose their jobs.
Government between parents and kids.
The infrastructure.
Largest tax increase.
The flow of migrants.
People, here's what we know.
To get to the facts.
The stakes could not be higher.
You know what's going to happen.
The Democratic Party has reached a new level of insanity. It's really, really frightening. It's scary how much evil is connected.
Dedicated his extraordinary life.
Believe in America with all your heart and soul.
Inflation is elevated.
Continued shortages.
The mandates are working.
This hypersonic missile.
We don't know how to stop it.
Infrastructure.
Although it's a smaller bill.
More taxes, more debt.
The freedom to vote safely.
Take over all of state elections.
Alec Baldwin fired that prop gun.
Even remains found of Brian Laundrie.
Look, here's the deal, guys.
Should police officers be mandated to get vaccines or let go?
Yes and yes. The mandates are working. No, I mean, come on. Freedom.
Mr. Bannon.
The American people deserve to know what he knew. The resolution is adopted.
Contempt charge.
It's a battle between freedom and socialism.
They are overreaching.
Get vaccinated or lose their jobs.
Government.
Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
First responders were our heroes last year. Now you want to fire them.
This caravan that we're seeing of thousands of people.
We have caught people that came from Yemen. Why are they coming to America? Who are they working with? And what do they have planned?
Mice addicted to cocaine. We're having beagles eaten alive from the neck up. We are frightening monkeys.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. Tom, Benny, Clark, and you, and a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking with Representative Keith Kidwell about a number of issues happening in Raleigh. But we're also going to be talking to him about an article that showed up in the New Bern Sun Journal talking about the fact that at one point, some 10 years ago, he was on a list of someone who had contacted Oath Keepers. We're going to ask him about that. They're trying to make a big deal about that now as if he's in some right-wing nut job group. So we'll get Keith on the phone, talk to him about that and many other things going on in Raleigh. Did you see any of the part two of Merrick Garland's hearing today? Man, did he get fried.
Oh, Senator Tom Cotton, he laid into
I've got some audio of that, and it's worth listening to. It's a little longer than what we normally play, but it is. He roasted Merrick Garland, and I'm listening to Merrick Garland now. The only reason I can possibly think of that the Democrats would want to have put him up to be a Supreme Court justice is because he would have been another Joe Biden that would have been totally pliable, that would have done whatever they have said. This guy's got zero backbone.
None. In typical fashion, the Democrats, whether it's state Supreme Courts or the federal bench, United States Supreme Courts, they constantly elect people that are not advocates for the law and the Constitution, but they're really advocates for
they carry the water for the Dems.
Exactly. And I just, the fact that someone who was considered for the Supreme Court immediately, the first chance he had to get a political appointment, he got it.
Yeah.
That tells you a lot to me.
Yeah. It was quite entertaining. Now, he got roasted by multiple Republicans, but the blue ribbon goes to Tom Cotton. He tore into Merrick Garland during the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing today, chastising him for his memo to the Justice Department. Now, he asked him about a few other things, but the central focus was between Tom Cotton and Merrick Garland on this memo that went out and it originated from the National School Board Association. It went to the Biden administration. They sent it over to the Justice Department. Merrick Garland sent his memo out to the FBI and did reference parents as domestic terrorists. He tried his best to backtrack that and to say, well, no, that's not what I meant. But Tom Cotton didn't have it. Cut one.
Keep citing the school board letter and news reports. Right. One of the news reports cited in that letter, which you presumably mean, is from Loudoun County, Virginia.
No, that is not what I was talking about.
Well, you keep citing news reports, and that's the most prominent news report that anyone in America has seen. That refers to Scott Smith, whose 15-year-old daughter was raped. She was raped in a bathroom by a boy wearing girls' clothes, and the Loudoun County School Board covered it up because it would have interfered with their transgendered policy during Pride Month. And that man, Scott Smith, because he went to a school board and tried to defend his daughter's rights, was condemned internationally. Do you apologize to Scott Smith and his 15-year-old daughter, Judge?
Senator, anyone whose child was raped is the most horrific crime I can imagine, and is certainly entitled and protected by the First Amendment to protest to their school board about this.
But he was cited by the School Board Association as a domestic terrorist, which we now know that letter and those reports were the basis for your.
Senator,
this is
that's wrong.
Shameful. Judge, this is shameful. This testimony, your directive, your performance is shameful.
Okay. That's not.
Thank God you are not on the Supreme Court. You should resign in disgrace, Judge.
Amen to that.
He's not afraid.
Boy, Merrick Garland's, I mean, he sounds like your 90-year-old grandmother. I mean, he just is weak and feeble. But for him to come out and try to disconnect the memo from Scott Smith just does not pass the smell test. I mean, it doesn't even come close. There are so many connect the dots between the Scott Smith case, what happened in Loudoun County, the National School Board writing to the Biden administration. It's just a straight conduit. And for him to get up there, I had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with it at all.
Well, he's in charge of the Justice Department.
Yeah.
So whether you didn't have anything to do with it or not, you're responsible for it. You know, and he's not taking responsibility.
He plays the typical Clinton-esque type of thing. You know, did anybody get in contact with you, meaning the Justice Department? Well, not me personally. I don't know anything about that. Interestingly, Tom Cotton also brought up, okay, have you looked into what was happening with Kristen Sinema and as she was being harassed? You know, and they got into the whole thing of, he said, well, I'm just saying that, we can't have violence at the school board meetings. And Tom Cotton pointed out very quickly, he said, well, no, look at your memo. You use the words intimidation, not violence. You use the word intimidation. And then he tries to say, well, that's another word for violence. It's just beyond the pale. And he just, wow, what a skunk.
I had the testimony, just listening to it in the background while I was working today, and I did catch a few things. And one thing I got a little tired of hearing is Merrick Garland constantly saying, what is it? We got a long-standing tradition at the Justice Department where we don't comment on ongoing investigation. That is horse crap. You comment on things you want to comment on, and you don't comment on things that has mud on your face, like this case here.
Well, he was also asked by Cotton, have you pursued going after the rioters from last year's riots that took place? And his answer to that was, well, that was a different administration. Well, you're still in charge of the current administration, and there's some people outstanding that need to be pulled in and tried. Here's a good question. Somebody threw this out to me today. Listen to what Maxine Waters said a little over a year ago during the campaign. Is Merrick Garland going to go after Maxine? Because this is what she said concerning cabinet members and members of the White House staff of Donald Trump.
Already, you have members of your cabinet that are being booed out of restaurants, who have protesters taking up at their house, who's saying no peace, no sleep. No peace, no sleep. And guess what? We're going to win this battle. And so let's stay the course. Let's make sure we show up wherever we have to show up. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
I think that would qualify as intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going on a limb there and say I think that qualifies as intimidation.
I wish Senator Cotton or someone else. Of course, they might have phrased it like this, but I wish someone would phrase a question to Merrick Garland like this. Okay, you cannot comment on a specific case, but let's talk hypotheticals here. Which do you consider more closely aligned to domestic terrorism? Parents attending a school board meeting, asking questions, or attacking a federal judicial building in Portland, Oregon?
Yeah, and trying to burn it down.
Yeah. Which is the domestic terrorist here? Because you didn't, no one wrote a memo. Yeah, it was a different administration, but it was. Comment on it. What would you do? Just hypothetical. What would you do? Would you send a letter regarding domestic terrorism, regarding people, during the Black Lives Matter protest and the Summer of Love, as they called it in Portland?
Interestingly, speaking of Loudoun County, one of the members of the school district up there in Loudoun County who represents one of the districts, a guy named John Beatty, has accused Scott Ziegler, the superintendent, of withholding information for, quote, political gain when it came to an alleged sexual assault against a female student in the girls' restroom on May the 28th. He said, and I quote, "My heart breaks every time I hear about the assaults in our school. I could never imagine my daughter coming home from school and telling me something like this happened, but the fact remains, you don't go to the press during an ongoing investigation, especially when it's dealing with a student's privacy. No matter the incident, I trust the superintendent and his staff perform their jobs to protect our students. Even so," he accused Scott Ziegler, the superintendent, of withholding information in order to protect the controversial pro-transgender policy 80-40. Quote, "I believe no updates were given because the superintendent was working to aggressively pass a policy that would have allowed unrestricted access of biological males to female restrooms. He didn't provide information because if it came out that there was an assault in the bathroom, the transgender policy wouldn't have passed." And can one to say, I think he wanted this to coincide with passing during Pride Month, and he's gone all after them, and he is as a member of the board saying this guy Ziegler needs to resign. Now, many of the parents up there say Ziegler and the entire board need to resign. But some good news, and this guy John Beatty has just said, you know what, I'm sorry. I didn't realize certain things were going on, and I'm standing with the parents and the students. It is, I would have to say, though, I'm a little suspicious that it's only after the parents have thrown down the gauntlet, the students have walked out in protest, and suddenly this guy has this revelation. It has this road to Damascus revelation, and is changing everything that he stands for.
I hope someone is on the ballot for every board member in Loudoun County.
You know what? There's going to be a lot of people running for school boards, I promise you. Now, what's interesting is down in Orange County, Florida, yesterday there was a school board meeting. And at this school board meeting, a number of parents showed up, and the original thrust of the meeting was going to be because in Orange County, they're one of a handful of counties out of Florida's 67 county boards that have flouted the governor's order on masks, that they don't have to have masks. And Orange County, we're going to go against DeSantis. We're going to have the masks anyway. But as the meeting got underway, a journalist who works for the Gateway Pundit showed up, and he had some parents come to him and were complaining about the fact that the book Gender Queer, a memoir by Mia Kobabe, It's a graphic. We've talked about this book before. Graphic pornographic book. He gets up. They have the give and take time where the people can come up to the microphone and express their thoughts. He comes up to the microphone and just says, "This book is from the library of one of your schools in the Orange County schools, Boone High School in Orlando," and starts reading from the book. And this is what happens. Cut 2.
Concerning a passage from Gender Queer. Fast forward, we've been dating for 2 months. We've made out. We've had sex. We've moved on to sexting at work. I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you. It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You are going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your...
Mr. Engels, I appreciate the...
No way.
I'd
like to continue reading.
No, we're not going to have...
I'm sorry. I want to have your balance in my mouth.
You're out of order, and if you don't stop now, we'll remove you from the chambers. Remove him from the chambers.
Why?
Our kids are reading this. Our kids are reading this.
If we can be quiet, I will answer your questions. I understand
You allow
that
this
if that
film.
book is in the classroom, and the language that he just read is inappropriate for this forum.
Then why is it
Excuse me, I have the floor. I'm respectful to you when you speak. If you're respectful to me, or we'll take another recess. I understand the contradiction here. This is the first time I've heard of this and the board has heard of this. We will look into the matter, and I do hope that that book is removed. Okay? And if not, we'll be back here having this conversation again.
That's right.
But I can guarantee you, I did not know that book was in the library, and I doubt anybody.
That's the problem is we don't...
You want to be removed from the room?
I don't. I just...
You cannot speak out in the meetings.
Whatever.
I just commended you guys. I understand this is emotional, but we're going to follow the rules, or we're going to take breaks and you're going to lose precious time. Let's take our next call.
I don't buy it. That was Orange County Public School Board Chair Teresa Jacobs. First of all, I had no idea this book was in our libraries. If you are on a school board anywhere in the United States and you are not going to the libraries of the schools that you're overseeing and making sure that this kind of filth isn't in the libraries, you need to be removed. Because it's all over every headline. And for her to get up and say, "I had no idea." And the one mom who said, "That's the problem," and immediately hits down the gavel. So bottom line is, this guy tries to get up in a room full of adults, no minors in the room, all adults, reading from a book that is available to the kids. In fact, this story goes on to say that during Pride Month, they had this book up on a pedestal when you walk into the library. A featured book. And look, this book contains graphic illustrations of male copulation. I'm not even going to go into more detail than that, but any of the vile garbage that you could imagine is illustrated, and it's not photographs, but they're illustrations and graphic descriptions of sex between young men. It is unbelievable.
And in the audio, I could hear in the background someone make the point, and I had this first thought was, you can arrest someone at a public hearing for reading from this book, but it's okay to be in our library and be available to our kids.
And this Teresa Jacobs had the police drag this guy off, remove him from the meeting.
So is it vulgar? Is it pornography, or is it not? Apparently, she thinks it is for the meeting, but it's okay for the school.
Is it that, or she doesn't want it revealed what is in our public libraries? Is it if she's, I'm offended, you can't use those kind of words in this public meeting, or is it, I want to hide this so it doesn't come out?
Well, she's probably most embarrassed that she didn't have a freaking clue that it was in the library.
But again, I have a hard time believing that she didn't know. This has been all over the front page.
Yeah, that's right.
Of every website, at least conservative websites. Now, your liberal publications are probably, that doesn't happen. CRT's not real. Oh, pornography in our public libraries and our children's libraries, that's not real.
Where is Orange County in Florida?
Right outside Orlando.
Okay. Of course.
561-8255. William has been holding on patiently. Hey, William.
Hey, Tom. How you doing, guys?
Doing well. Good to hear from you.
I just wanted to give a big shout-out to Scott Smith, the parent of the daughter that was raped, his 14-year-old daughter at that school.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you this. as a guy that's got a daughter and a son, if that had been my daughter, they would have had not only FBI, but 82nd Airborne and a couple of Navy SEAL teams would have had to call in.
Well, I got news for you. If you had the Navy SEALs and the guys from the Airborne, they would have been on your side.
They would have been on my side. It is unbelievable. You don't have to be smart and you don't have to be religious to see what's going on in this country. And I cannot believe. It's unbelievable. I told my wife the other night, I said, if my kids were growing up now, I may have to eat Vienna sausage, but they would be in a charter, private, or they would not be in a public school. I can promise you that.
Well, the other point that you remind me of is parents don't assume, since you live in rural eastern North Carolina, that this couldn't possibly happen at your school. If your kids are in public schools, and kudos to the teachers that look at the public school as their mission field, and they're doing a good job. But it is an uphill battle when you have this kind of garbage that is being snuck in the back door. But parents, you need to do your homework. If your kid's in public school, you need to go check it out. Don't just assume. Just because you got a good teacher, your kids have a good teacher, don't just assume that this kind of garbage is not available.
And there's a lot of good teachers that have no idea that this is going on.
Yeah, but and you're right, Scott Smith. Hold your head high. Hold your head high. That is a red badge of courage. Wear that well. Wear that well. Great, great point, William. Thank you for the call. 561-8255. We got to take a time out though. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Pasalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Hi, I'm Richard Langley, and after helping my grandmother with an iPad she received as a gift, I realized how many other older adults may also have challenges with their own technology.
Happy Grandma specializes in helping with any tech issue you may be experiencing. Whether it's setting up a new computer or TV, having issues with the printer or Wi-Fi, or showing you how to use your tech, we want to help you. To make it easier, we come directly to you with a smile on our face.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough, get happy.
Happy Grandma Senior Tech Support.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina.
Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. Taking a look at your weather forecast. Mostly clear tonight, low around 50. Tomorrow, a chance of showers late in the day. Otherwise, partly cloudy with high near 70. Then tomorrow night, the rain comes in. 90% chance of rain on Thursday night, and which is going to be interesting for the ECU football game. It's going to be played in the rain. I don't know if that helps ECU or hurts ECU.
Well, I've seen some varying reports of that it might race out of here before the game.
Oh,
so
okay.
But who knows?
Well, our meteorologist, Clark Willis, what he handed me, says 90% tomorrow night. Rainfall amounts between a half inch and 3/4 of an inch possible. And then, according to this weather forecast, the showers will dissipate early Friday morning.
Well, other than a slippery football, East Carolina has a very well-drained field. I think I was at a game one time. It was rained about 8 or 9 inches that day before, and it was not in bad shape at all.
The New Bern Sun-Journal reported over the weekend, headline, North Carolina Representative Keith Kidwell is being questioned about his involvement in an anti-government extremist group called Oath Keepers after a leaked membership roster became public that shows he was a member in 2012. Well, first of all, anything that you've ever heard about Oath Keepers, and I've got to confess, we're just trying to look up to find something out about Oath Keepers, but anything that you've heard about Oath Keepers has come from left-wing mainstream media journalists. Mm-hmm. And they tried to tie Oath Keepers to what happened on January the 6th. So therefore, anybody that ever had anything to do with Oath Keepers and the history of Oath Keepers is now, basically a villain in the eyes of the public. But Keith and I were talking earlier today, and I wanted to get him on so that he could give an explanation. Keith Kidwell represents Beaufort and Craven counties in North Carolina's 79th District. Keith, welcome back in. Always good to have you with us.
Hey, Tom. How you doing? Good to talk with you.
Good to talk with you. Benny and I were talking before during one of the breaks. This just seems like yellow journalism. I mean, first of all, I don't know a whole lot about Oath Keepers, but the New Bern Sun-Journal, and I'm not defending Oath Keepers, I just don't know that much about it, but immediately, and I doubt if the people and the editors down at the New Bern Sun-Journal know that much about it, except for what other people have said coming from the left-wing media, but it just seemed like yellow journalism, especially since any involvement that you had was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, so my extent of involvement with Oath Keepers is I had read about them on the internet, I guess it was 2012, to be honest with you. If you'd asked me when it was, I wouldn't have known. I'm kind of surprised it was that long ago, but
time flies.
I'm pretty confident it was during the Obama administration. And, there was a lot of people at that time, and as is today, who took oaths to the Constitution and had not stood by those oaths. And Oath Keepers' mission at that time, now, to be honest with you, I read about it. I sent them a check for whatever it was, $10 or $15 or $25. I don't even know what it was. Might have signed up online, don't really know. And joined the organization at one time. I never got a renewal notice, never asked for a renewal notice, never read a newsletter from them, never attended a meeting, and haven't done anything further with them. With that said, not because I dislike them, it's just I hadn't done anything further with it.
Let me just read from the Oath Keepers website what their mission statement says. This is the organization that the New Bern Sun-Journal says is an anti-government extremist group. Here's this extremist group's mission statement. Oath Keepers is a nonpartisan association of current and formerly serving military, police, and first responders who pledge to fulfill the oath all military and police take to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That oath, mandated by Article 6 of the Constitution itself, is to the Constitution, not to the politicians, and Oath Keepers declares that they will not obey unconstitutional orders, such as orders to disarm the American people, to conduct warrantless searches, or to detain Americans as enemy combatants in violation of their ancient right to a jury trial. That doesn't exactly, it sounds like if you were against that mission, you would be anti-government.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Tom, if you read that, and I think that's pretty similar to what it said back when I did join it, I would think that most of the founding fathers would be terrorists by the standards the Sun Journal uses, or ProPublica, or whoever else it is that's out there attacking me, because they wrote these words that we use to defend the Constitution, and what is the Constitution. Also, I might point out, you're guilty by association because, and I don't even know what Oath Keepers' affiliation is with the January 6th movement. That I honestly, I don't know if there was Oath Keeper members up there or not. I assume there may have been, but I'm going to go out on a limb here, Tom, and I'm going to say there was probably members of the NRA, Grassroots North Carolina, Gun Rights of America. There was probably licensed fishermen. I'm going to guess there was Knights of Columbus and Roriton and Elks members and Lions Clubs and Moose Lodge. Does that make all them terrorists as well?
Yeah. Well, there's probably some FBI agents in there too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, there was FBI, police, fire department people. Are all of them terrorists that are associated with any of those organizations because some member of that organization went up on January 6th?
Yeah, great point.
That doesn't make sense to me, okay? And I can tell you my response, I was contacted initially by, I think it was Raw. I don't even know who they are. You may know better than I do being in media. I had never heard of them before, and honestly haven't read or seen anything about them since. But they're Raw and ProPublica, and I think WRAL and the Charlotte Observer. I got different email contacts and phone messages. Would I speak to this Oath Keepers thing? Well, I spoke to 3 different organizations, and then I just said, you know what, not even going to waste my time. Here's what I told each one of them. The information, and the first guy who called me told me this was from Raw. The information was gotten that I had been a member in 2012 of Oath Keepers, was gotten through an illegal hack. It was robbed.
Right.
It was stolen from Oath Keepers' computer. Now, I am not going to sit here and allow you to sell newspapers or make money off your commercial advertising by using stolen information. Okay? And I understand the Supreme Court has ruled that ill-gotten information in these cases with the media can still be used. I don't care what the Supreme Court says in regard to that. Ill-gotten information, that's like saying, hey, I didn't steal the car, but I know the guy that stole it, but I'm still going to drive it and use it to go back and forth to work. No, that's not the way things should be done. And this is what I think encourages hackers to do more hacking, because they see that their efforts are, oh, look, we're getting rewarded for this.
Yeah.
And then the media is using it to reward themselves. Doesn't make sense. I told them exactly this. You using the information, in my mind, makes you just as guilty as the person who stole the information.
There you go.
I agree.
There you go.
So,
all right, let's go on to some other stuff. Thank you for that explanation. I'm not surprised that a publication that doesn't exactly speak glowingly of conservatives would come after you like this.
Well, Sun Journal has been contacted by me many a time, Tom, where I was trying to give them information on bills that I was doing to rein in the governor's overreach, or suing the governor, or trying to get different bills passed for taxes. I've sent them press release after press release, and interestingly enough, this is the first thing they've ever published about me.
Well, I lived in New Bern 30 years ago, and we used to call it the Scum Journal, so I guess it's appropriate.
Let's talk about. Anyway.
I'll leave that where it landed.
All right, yeah, there you go. Let's talk about what's happening up in Raleigh right now. You listed for me some bullet points earlier, and I want to try to cover each of these. And I'm not sure which order I want to take them in, but let me ask you first of all, and you did not bring this up, but the Carolina Journal covered this in a piece today. Then they talked about how Tim Moore adjourned yesterday's session, but promised a busy week ahead, including a not too far down the road vote on redistricting. But the Carolina Journal mentions that House Bill 259, the Election Integrity Act, of which you were one of the sponsors, was pulled and it wasn't voted on. And apparently there were some amendments that you and Kyle Hall and George Cleveland wanted to make. What's that all about? Can you give us any more detail on that?
Yeah, so that bill, the very first part of that, Section 1, is my bill, and they've appended some other bills to it to try and consolidate the efforts. And I know on my part of it, Tom, there was some question in one of the, I think it was the Elections Committee meeting. The Democrats raised the question of, and what the bill does is it says all North Carolina voting equipment must be manufactured in North Carolina, or not in the United States,
right,
by United States-owned businesses, so people that have business within the United States. So I don't want our equipment coming from China, Russia, the Ukraine, or any place else. I want our software to be U.S. software so that we have control of our elections. And this is to protect our elections from any foreign interference through electronics, because you and I know that it can be done, and very likely in some states. I don't know if it's done in North Carolina, but I'm sure in some states we did have issue with that. So that's what my piece of the bill seeks to do. And it says all voting equipment that's going to be used in North Carolina, new purchases,
People deserve to know what he knew.
must be United States. And it takes effect when this bill becomes law. So in my mind, and I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to think too simply, it says when this becomes law. So if it becomes January 1st of 2022, any machines bought out January 2022 would have to come to law. The Democrats didn't seem to understand that. Well, it doesn't say that we can't fix old machines or that we can't buy machines prior to the date. Yet it says any equipment purchased after this date. So what I've done is I've prepared an amendment that
tightens it up.
Says any old machines can still be fixed. They're not with new equipment. So that's my piece of the amendment. So I asked the Speaker, let's send it back so we can have this clarified. I want to make this as simple to understand as I can for them, because the language I used was evidently too difficult. I don't know.
Hey, Keith, we got to take a time out. Can you stay with us?
Sure.
I have some more questions. Okay, hang on with us, because Keith Kidwell is going to join us again right after the break and talk about budget, redistricting, and are Republicans interested in Medicaid expansion? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course, or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
A collection of question marks.
A lot of questions.
Why?
How?
No logic, no reason, no explanation. Just a prolonged nightmare.
Worst nightmare of their lives.
This long nationwide nightmare.
We'll start collecting clues as to the whys, the whats, and the wheres.
Neighborhood by neighborhood. Literally knocking on doors.
This is your worst nightmare.
The nightmare.
It would be a nightmare.
Worst nightmare.
We will not end the nightmare. We'll only explain it.
Explain to us.
Because this
is News and Views with Tom and Benny on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. We're talking with Representative Keith Kidwell, who represents Beaufort and Craven counties, North Carolina's 79th district. Keith, let's talk about budget. And, it's been in the news for weeks now. And
almost a year.
Well, yeah. I mean, when was the last time we've actually had this governor sign off on a budget since the Republicans have been in charge of the legislature? Has he ever?
No, this governor has not signed a budget. I'm not sure he's going to sign this one. Right now, the negotiations are between the leadership in the House, the Senate, and the governor's office to see if we can come to an agreement to get him to sign a budget before it goes out totally public to the media so that they don't sit there and put a bad spin on the things that we're trying to do. Here's what I can tell you. I know there's some very decent raises for teachers. There's decent raises for state employees. There's things like a new Brody School of Medicine like we had in the last session. There's a lot of great things in this budget that are going to help Eastern North Carolina. We've got a huge chunk. It was in the Washington Daily News today. Somewhere near $20 million that's going to go into the Washington Airport and area businesses to help the businesses develop in Beaufort and Craven counties so that we can bring in, it's going to be somewhere over, I think it's a 5-year window, about 1,000 jobs into this area. And all of this is in the budget. It's awesome. There's a lot of taxpayer requirements, things that the taxpayers need. Beaufort County and Chocowinity, they need a new ambulance. They don't have the money without raising taxes on the people of Chocowinity. I was able to get that into the budget through COVID money. And most of what I'm trying to bring into Beaufort County is using the federal COVID money that's already been allocated. So it's not even impacting the North Carolina budget itself. So it's all good stuff. I'm hoping that nobody monkeys it up and tries to go put in something goofy like Medicaid expansion, something like that, which I was told they were trying to. Now I'm told that, nope, that's off the table and will not happen, at least not within the budget. So,
well let me, I mean, because the governor has said all along he's not going to sign anything unless there's Medicaid expansion in there. And then we have been hearing rumors and seeing headlines and saying, is Phil Berger, I know he's over on the Senate side, but, he wants to push Medicaid expansion. And, is that going down that line? Have there been Republicans, whether it's been Phil or other people, that have actually broached the idea of let's have Medicaid expansion? I know the governor wants it, but up to now, we haven't had any Republicans get behind that. But are those rumors true?
Well, so, I don't work in the Senate, don't work with the Senate directly. We kind of get the bills that they pass. I have not heard directly from anybody in either house that any individual Republican is in favor, not from that person. I, like you, have heard rumors that this or that one is in favor of Medicaid expansion. But here's what I can tell you, Tom, is I got a phone call a couple of weeks ago. Said, Representative, they're thinking about Medicaid expansion in the budget. We're going to add, and they started going through a list of my great bills, things, reining in the governor's power, tax cuts, tax credits for EMS workers. They're going to put all this stuff in the budget. That's my bill, in hopes that I'll vote for it. They said, if we put all this in, would you vote for a budget with Medicaid expansion? I said, no, I won't. You can put all the cotton candy in there you want to. I'm not going to do it. I don't think it's the right thing. They said, well, what would you have to have in a budget that included Medicaid expansion to get your vote on it? I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If you can put one thing and one thing only in that budget and have Medicaid expansion in it, I'll vote for it. They said, okay, what's that? We'll see if we can do it. I said, Roy Cooper's resignation.
That's a good one.
Maybe we'll get that, but they told me at that point, they said, well, at least we know where you stand.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. Benny's got a question for you.
Hey, Keith, this is Benny. We've been talking budget, heck, with you and others since at least the spring, maybe even before that.
Benny, we were supposed to pass it back in May.
Yeah, but is there anything, of course, everyone knows, or most of us know about, there's deadlines for filing bills, but then all throughout the year there's things that get amended and attached and that type of thing. Is there anything that you can kind of tip us right now and say, hey, it's kind of a big surprise that no one has really talked about for the last 6 months?
Yeah, I really don't think so from what we have at this point. I mean, it's a very, and that's well, I guess the biggest surprise that most people haven't really heard about is the tax cuts that are in it. And that's the interesting part, is we're doing the great things that we're talking about doing, giving the teachers raises, giving the state employees raises, funding the things that need to be funded that government should be doing, roads and infrastructure, looking at how we can expand broadband, millions of dollars in there for broadband expansion throughout the state. And we're doing that, not only balancing the budget, but cutting taxes at the same time. And as I've told people, this is what happens when you send an accountant to Raleigh.
There you go. There you go. Well, could you go to Washington, please?
I think the biggest surprise is no one reports that the governor has, for 5 budgets, vetoed teacher raises. I mean, that's just the facts.
And of course, what's interesting is last session we had 5 different opportunities for the governor to sign teachers' raises, and there was 2%, 3%, 5%. And what he finally signed was the lowest number we gave him, which was a one-time $350 stipend, because that's all we could get the man to sign. Then he wants to say, we aren't giving the teachers raises.
Yeah.
Governor, we gave you the chance to give them raises. You blew it.
Yeah, big time. We only got a couple of minutes left, but wanted to ask you about redistricting. Benny asked you about any surprises in the budget. Are there any pleasant surprises in the redistricting for Eastern North Carolina?
So, Tom, I'm going to tell you it's good you only have a couple minutes left because it won't take long. I am not on redistricting committee. Let me start with that.
Okay.
I've not been in the redistricting computer room. I've not spoken to anybody about redistricting. I've not seen any maps, and I don't want to. The reason is it's a very concise process. I heard somebody say on the news that we weren't being transparent. Somebody, I think, out of Greenville. Well, it couldn't be more transparent. The entire redistricting committee room is in the largest committee room in the General Assembly building, and they have cameras with microphones running anytime somebody's in the room. Mm-hmm. And that is accessible on the internet. There's no way that it could be more transparent. We don't talk about redistricting outside of that room, and I've not been in that room, so I've not talked about it. So I don't know what the surprises are. I've had people call me and say, I don't like this, I don't like that. I said, I don't care. I'm not on that committee, and I don't want to end up as a witness when the Democrats subpoena everybody to say,
bingo.
Well, what did you say about this or that of redistricting?
Well,
want to go to court.
Here's the biggest surprise on redistricting. The biggest surprise would be if the Democrats don't sue or one of their...
Oh, come on. No, Tom, we've already heard that they have 4 different lawsuits they're filing, and we don't even know what the maps are yet.
Hold on to your hat. Hey, Keith, thanks for joining us. We got to run. We're way behind, but thank you, sir, for your explanations, and Godspeed to you. Keep up the good work. By the way, a lot of our folks have been praying for you and your wife, health-wise. Everything back to normal yet?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm as normal as I'll ever be. My wife is still in recovery mode. She's got a little bit to go yet. She's had a rough time. Like the Speaker of the House said, one of the toughest women in the state of North Carolina, he said about her on the floor yesterday. She had COVID, pneumonia, heart attack, triple bypass surgery, and sepsis all in 7 weeks.
Wow.
And survived all of them. She is one tough cookie. Wow. Plus, she's put up with me for 40 years.
Well, there you go. There you go. She has some good training.
Battle hardened, right.
All right, Keith, thanks a million. Stay with us. Benny and I'll be right back.
Your trade is in high demand. That means your trade-in value has never been hotter. Get to Greenville Toyota now. We'll pay more for your trade than ever before. Get cash on the spot, even if you don't buy from us. At Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
This is your Drive at 5, an ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Good to hear from Keith Kidwell again, and glad to hear his, she's gone through it. Glad to hear she's doing okay. Prayers for Keith and his wife continue. Hard to believe the governor. How can you be the governor and never have signed a budget?
That's just amazing to me.
Yeah.
And how, the News and Observer should be highlighting that about his last 4.5, 5 years. But no, it's always the Republicans' fault.
Well, and a couple of weeks ago, I was reading some highlights of the budget that's been put forth by the legislature and passed by the Republicans versus his budget. And I'm a little uncertain of the numbers, but they had teacher raises, I want to say somewhere like 4 or 5%, or maybe it was even 3%. And then they had him in there at 10%. And it's like he's the big hero, but it had been 10% had you signed these other budgets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe more than that.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for being with us. We'll do it again tomorrow at 5. Play a little political trivia. See you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.